All right. All right. Good morning, everybody on Facebook. Thank you if you can join us. Appreciate it. And good afternoon, good evening if you're watching the recording on Facebook or YouTube. We appreciate it. I'm Ian Foster. Again, this is My Empowered Political Life, June 16th, 2025, and we're going to talk geostrategy today and the situation of what's happening in the world right now. So we're going to talk about the Israel-Iran war. And yes, we're calling it a war. More and more people are calling it a war. It is a war at this point. They are really going at it. Israel is bombarding Iran, and Iran shooting hundreds of missiles back at Israel. You're not seeing a lot of ground troops involved because they don't share a border, but this is a full-on conflict at this point. This is not just a few airstrikes. That picture there, those are Israeli F-35s, which are apparently heavily involved in what's happening. We actually call them the F-35I. It's the export version of the F-35 built especially for Israel with the capabilities they wanted. And as a bonus, we're going to do a China-Taiwan update. What you're seeing there are Chinese amphibious landing craft practicing how they're going to invade Taiwan. We're going to update that as well. So it would have been hard to miss over the last few days. Israel has been striking Iran repeatedly for the last 4 days or so. And they've hit hundreds of targets inside Iran, including Iranian nuclear enrichment sites. And indeed, that seems to be one of the main motivations. Israel, their intelligence believes Iran was only a couple months away from developing a nuclear weapon. And once Iran has nuclear weapons, things become very tricky and very bad very quickly for basically the whole world. So they've been hitting the nuclear enrichment sites, apparently have done massive destruction, caused some, even though these sites are deep underground, Israel is using bunker buster bombs and have caused several of them to implode, apparently. They've been hitting Iranian missile storage facilities where Iran keeps their missiles that they would shoot back at Israel and other targets, and then they've hit Iran's defense manufacturing industry so they can't replace all the missiles that were destroyed, along with oil and natural gas facilities, which is Iran's main source of income. You are going to see gas prices rise. Apparently, crude oil prices are up 10% already over the last few days because of all of this, since Iran is a major supplier of oil and natural gas. So you are going to see energy prices go up from this. Now, this is just a map. This was from a couple days ago. I wasn't able to find one this morning, just showing targets all over Iran, including around Tehran itself, the capital. They're hitting all over the place. And Israel has decapitated the Iranian leadership. All of the top generals in the Iranian army, air force, and Revolutionary Guard are dead. They have decapitated the top leadership. And apparently Israel did this similar to how Ukraine did their recent operation deep inside Russia. Israel has spent the last 6 months or a year smuggling military drones inside of Iran, and then triggered them to go assassinate all of the top Iranian military leadership. They've also assassinated the top Iranian nuclear scientists in order to stop the Iranian nuclear weapons program. But the decapitation of leadership is key. It means that Iran is not able to have a effective coordinated response to Israel's attacks. That's the whole point. And you've seen that Iran really hasn't had an effective coordinated response. They've launched a bunch of missiles and drones at Israel, but it's been relatively ineffective. It's been random. It's come in waves. They are not overwhelming the Israeli air defense system. So Iran's response has been incredibly ineffective. And indeed, Israel, they not just decapitated leadership, but they also took out almost all of Iran's air defenses and the Iranian Air Force. The Iranian Air Force was never that good anyway, but there ain't a lot left of it now. So again, they took out the missile storage sites, these ballistic missiles. That's an actual picture from an Iranian missile storage site deep underground. Those Iranian missiles are the main threat against Israel. So they're taking out the storage sites for the existing missiles and the production facilities so that Iran cannot replace their stockpiles. And this is complete domination by Israel at this point. It's definitely a war, and Israel is winning it. Within 72 hours, Israel seems to have achieved almost total air superiority over Iranian airspace. Again, the Iranian Air Force, which was not great as it was, has been rendered combat ineffective. The Iranian air defense system has rendered combat ineffective. So Israel has air superiority over Iran. This means Israel can now do anything they want. They can fly in anything they want. They can do anything they want. In fact, and I found this sort of amusing, they invited the United States to join in what Israel is calling their, quote, happy time over Iran right now. Israel says they're having a happy time over Iran, and they wanted to know if the United States wanted to come have fun with them. So far, the United States has declined to join in. There's no really real reason for the U.S. to join in at this point. In fact, it would probably be detrimental to U.S. interests, and Israel seems to be doing fine on their own without our help. So I don't think we're going to join in a happy time over Iran unless you see Iran starting to attack American military personnel in the Middle East, in which case the U.S. might join in the happy time. And Iran might do that. They might be foolish enough to do that. Again, all their top generals are dead. All of the people in charge are dead. So the Iranian response is going to be haphazard, uncoordinated, and ineffective, and they might make some serious strategic mistakes. So we'll see what happens. Now let's move on to China and Taiwan. I promised you an update. Here, we've talked about this a bunch on this channel. The Chinese military activity around Taiwan continues. China has deployed both of their aircraft carrier groups in threatening positions, not just for Taiwan, but threatening American and Japanese interests. And remember, any invasion of Taiwan is likely to draw in both the United States and Japan on the Taiwanese side of the war. And the U.S. responding with multiple deployments. And actually, I forgot to put in the slide, just so far this year, China has flown over 1,700 military aircraft sorties into Taiwanese airspace just so far this year, which is double what they did all of last year. So China's getting very serious and very threatening with Taiwan right now. Let's look at a quick map. This is the Western Pacific. You see China there on the left. You see Japan up at the top. Papua New Guinea down at the bottom, Hawaii off to the right. So this is the Western Pacific and what's happening. China has two aircraft carriers. They are both deployed in a threatening position right now. Here's the Liaoning carrier group. This is as of about a week ago, and the direction they're moving. You see they're moving to split Iwo Jima and Guam. Iwo Jima is a key Japanese military base, and Guam is one of the most important American military bases in the Pacific Ocean. Here's the Shandong carrier group, the other Chinese carrier group. You see they are also moving to split Iwo Jima and Guam. So both Chinese carrier groups, they have never been deployed this far east before. They usually stay close to Chinese waters. They've never strayed this far. China doesn't normally have what we call a blue water navy, like the US and France and Britain do, which means our navy can roam the entire world at will. But China is showing that their carrier groups can roam out into the blue waters, and they are threatening Japanese and American military bases in range to strike both of them. Now, the United States already has the Nimitz carrier group in the Philippines. We have the George Washington carrier group stationed in Japan. And then we have a couple of amphibious landing groups full of Marines and F-35Bs and other equipment. We have one in Hawaii and one stationed in Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea. So we have a lot of assets getting close. And then I was not able to confirm the positions of the USS Theodore Roosevelt carrier group and the Abraham Lincoln carrier group, but they apparently are on their way to the region now. So a lot of firepower is about to gather in the Western Pacific. And as they say in these situations, tensions will rise, tempers will flare, and somebody can make the tiniest mistake that could set the whole thing off. So we are looking at a lot of firepower from China, Japan, and the United States about to be concentrated in the Western Pacific. And so let's hope for the best there. Let's hope that that no young ensign on somebody's ships makes a tiny mistake to set things off. Let's hope that everybody keeps their tempers calm and keeps the tensions down. All right, let's get straight to our doors and corners now. And where we're going with all this, so Israel's attack on Iran, they are describing it as a preemptive attack on Iran. Basically, Israel is saying Iran is about to have nuclear weapons. They're going to use them, and we had to do this to defend ourselves. Now, I have no idea if that's true. I am certainly not privy to the intelligence assessment, either the Israeli or the U.S. intelligence assessments. Israel has an extensive, very effective intelligence network, and they think Iran was that close, and they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. I don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. I don't think anyone I don't think even Russia and China wants Iran to have nuclear weapons because the Iranian leadership has been fairly combative and adversarial and unpredictable. So maybe they were that close, and Israel felt they had to do something now. The other interesting thing is Israel has been putting out messages to the Iranian people saying, hey, we have decapitated your leadership. You are a great people with a great history. You used to have a vibrant, thriving democracy before the current leadership took control. And Israel is telling the Iranian people, this is your time to rise up and be free again. Throw off that oppressive regime. We have made your military ineffective. We've decapitated your leadership. This is your time as an Iranian people to rise up and be free and form a democracy again. The Iranian people might do that. They are a proud, strong people with a beautiful culture, with a vibrant history, and they really did have a vibrant, wonderful democracy until the current theocracy took over a few decades ago. Maybe the Iranian people will use this as their chance to be a free and democratic nation once again, which would be good for them and the entire world. It also could be very bloody, but all this is a bloody business. These are all a bloody business. So we will see what happens there. I don't expect the U.S. to get involved directly in the Israeli-Iran conflict. I do expect the U.S. to keep selling munitions to Israel. Israel's probably going to keep up this complete bombardment of Iran for several weeks at least until they feel like they've made Iran's entire military apparatus completely combat ineffective. And as I said, they have complete air superiority, so they can do it as long as they want at this point. The only question is how much ammunition do they have? So they'll probably have to buy more munitions from the United States. The Taiwan implications, again, we are all hoping for no war in Taiwan. I don't like to say it's inevitable. It does appear that we keep inching closer to war in Taiwan. If China invades Taiwan, that's bad for the U.S., it's bad for the world, it's bad for democracy around the world. I don't know that we could stand by and let it happen. It's just too damaging to the world's economy and to U.S. interests. And so I think it's still likely that the U.S. and Japan get involved. I think Australia probably gets involved. I think the Philippines probably get involved. But it is going to be rough. If China invades Taiwan, expect trouble here in the continental U.S., even though we're thousands of miles away on the ocean. The FBI Director Christopher Wray last year went before the Senate and admitted that the Chinese have spyware inside all of our systems here in the U.S. They're going to try and shut things down. Now, the FBI thinks they can counter it, but they don't know until it actually happens. So again, don't be afraid. Don't be concerned. Just pay attention and be prepared. Make sure you're prepared like you would for any natural disaster, hurricane, tornado, earthquake, power outages, whatever it might be. Make sure you have plenty of food and water on hand for a couple of weeks. Make sure you know what you're going to do. Make sure everything's taken care of. Just be prepared. There's no point in being afraid of things you can't control. Just be prepared. So thanks so much, everyone. I will see you all again very soon.